Hey everyone, a very good morning. So today we are at Day 9 Nest. Oof, 9 days, man. It's actually we are just one number of the two-digit mark. Hello, Pooja. Good morning. The first to come in. Good morning. See, we are just one day off the two-digit mark. Bhavya. Good morning, Bhavya. Good to see you. Superb, superb. Let's wait for a few more people to come in. Let's have a review of our sketches so far. Royal, Scurry, Bat, Scallop. Good morning, Karthik. What is it? It's always nice to like review your drawing. From time to time, go back and admire your work. And some people will say it's cheesy, but I'll say it's the most motivating thing. So looking back at your work, day 7 trip, and yes, day 8 match. This was one epic session. So the last few days have been very rough. In fact, the last 10 to 14 days have been very rough for me. My health has been going bad. It's been going up and coming down. And I don't know what's going on, but I'm having this throat infection, this cough. It goes for a few days and it's again coming back. And even yesterday, I only had the energy to hold the morning session and the morning feedback session. After that, you wouldn't believe it. Throughout the day, I was just sleeping through the day. I slept for 3 hours after that. Then again, after just woke up, went out, had dinner, and again slept for then only to wake up today morning. If not for these morning live sessions, I did not know. Like I wouldn't have had this anchoring thing, and I'm super grateful to you all for anchoring me through these morning sessions. I'll have to go see a doctor after long refusal. I'll have to finally go see a doctor today, but something's seriously off. So let's start off with the sketch today. Okay, even I wished I had a speedy recovery. It's very frustrating when you don't have energy for anything, especially someone like me who's very active through the day and does not have any time for anything at all. It's very frustrating. It's very frustrating. I'm neither able to go to the gym. I don't have any energy for anything else. I'm not even having my appetite. So it's a very frustrating turn of events, right? So I'm not used to staying ill also. That's also there. Okay, so now another thing is you want to first position the C. You see that there is a trunk here. Okay, you want to start off with this trunk here. You want to just simply extend it out, and you see that this can be extended upwards here. And this can come here. This can go here. I can draw this can go here. So this first thing what we are drawing is it's only going to be a it's only going to be a center part. So you can think of this as you're drawing the 2D representation of it, because over this we'll be later adding in the width and the thickness into it. So right now I have the stem, I have this trunk here. Then I want to add the so start off by simply drawing a bowl like thing, because the nest actually has the shape of a bowl and we do not know. So the problem is we just tend to start off by detailing and texturing, but it's built over a structure. So the nest in itself is shaped like a bowl. You want to first start by drawing that bowl. In fact, you can complete that bowl here. Just keep your hands loose, just let it go. Just let it go and just let it right through this. And then again, the next one, I want to draw the next part of this. Okay. I'm just drawing the stem and all. And this part I can add in the birds over this. So considering that this is coming, I can simply draw the birds. So the bird I'll be drawing as just a line here. Okay, I'll be drawing the bird as a line here. And I'll simply draw a very basic shape. Start off with a very basic shape. Okay. Then similarly, the other stem, I can simply just project this out and I can draw this shape over this. So it's just starting off with the line, showing the legs here. And good morning, Neelam. Okay. So in fact, I thought of calling off today morning, but then I was like, come on, if I call this off yesterday, I slept at 9 only to wake up at 6. So 9 to 6 I was sleeping. So you can just see how fatigued I am. And even before that, I was sleeping from 2:30 to 6:30. So right, hardly any time I'm any wakeful time I'm actually getting. It's very frustrating. It's very frustrating when you're, what do you say, when all your day is just spent on sleeping and on the bed. And it's been a while that, I mean, when you're not feeling that wholesome or that healthy, it's very frustrating. Okay, start off with that. So you then pull this tail here. See, notice the shape. It's like a cylinder or it's like a bottle. It's like a bottle that I'm just queuing it up here and I'm drawing this head that'll come here. All right. So now this is the shape. So with this, we have the basic pencil sketch ready. See, I'm just leaving a little bit of gap for the border here. I haven't pulled it off right from the bottom, and because I'm leaving a little bit of gap for the bottom, then I'm leaving this here, just letting it come here, and I'm adding in this thickness to show a little bit of mass for the nest. See, a mistake that a lot of you will be making is you will not be providing enough thickness for this area. This area is supposed to be very thick, and then it's on this that you start adding up the texture, you start creating these patterns inside this. Okay, once you have the basic shape set, that's when you draw this. And you can define this trunk shape here. So just a little bit of touching, see, that you will be doing. So when you're drawing this, it's more or less uniform. It's in fact, don't make the mistake of making it thin at the base. In fact, along as it goes down, it only gets thicker. If you want, you can make it thinner as it goes along the top, but don't make it, what do you say, don't make it thicker as it goes along the top. No trunk exists like that. It's because of gravity. As even when you look at a human body, lower body is much bigger and heavier than the upper body, right? Simply because gravity. So you're just defining the bird here. Just make these bird big enough. Don't make them too small. Then you will not have enough space or volume to add in any of the details. Just defining. Once I have the shape, I'm just defining it there. Now I have the entire sketch ready. So how many of you are ready with the sketch? Now I'm moving on to the next part, the inking part. Right? It hardly took 10 minutes today to make the sketch. Yesterday's was sketch intensive. Today's is very simple, very easy to make. So now you see that when by continuously practicing this sketching, you are getting better at this. We are not doing any special sketching sessions, but by simply doing more, by realizing your mistake, by correcting them, and by being more conscious next time around, you get better at them. That's just the organic way of learning. So let's take out a pen 005, right? Let's take out our pens. You want me to zoom in even further? I'll zoom in when I start detailing it. Okay. So 005 I'm taking. I'll be taking out 003, 005, 003. I'll be taking out 01 and 03 pen. There. These are the pens that I'm going to be using for today. So I'll start off with my 005. That's where most of the tones are going to come here. Okay. I don't already zoom in this much. Let's just give me a minute. I like everything about YouTube Live, but it zooming in is not as convenient as Instagram or Zoom itself. Zoom makes it very convenient for you to zoom in. Here, it's very cumbersome. The whole option of zooming in is very cumbersome. Very sensitive it is. To be, if you're not careful, it will zoom in too much. Okay. So now I'm going to start by outlining this. Notice how I'm going to carefully, very carefully, just draw the outlines for this. Okay. You can use the 005 pen and just very carefully just think this 05, or I think even a 01 is good enough, because these are like very dark tones. So let's just see, notice how I'm just making these lines jagged. You can make it because these are like tree trunks and you want to show the quality of that roughness in them. So you just simply make your lines a little jagged than they are. Right? Don't draw these very smooth lines like how you would draw for plastic, say for instance. Texturing starts from its very outline. So later on inside this we'll texture it. Starts from the very outside. Okay. So now I have the outline here ready. What I want to do next is I want to start inking in, and for inking in I want to create a slight texture of wood inside this. If I were to simply just do hatching and cross hatching, I wouldn't be getting that effect. Now note how what I'm going to do here. I am drawing here using a 0.1 pen, simply putting these lines here like this. See, well, a few lines like this might not make much. When put together, notice how they start looking a little woody. See, if you were to simply do the curved cross hatching, you wouldn't be getting this effect. Since the bark is like very dark and burnt, I'm using a 0.1 pen. Let's see what happens if we use a 005 pen for this instead. Not bad, but I will rather use it here. So these are the lighter areas. So if you look at the whole study of light in this, you can see that this is a dark area, a very dark area, and this is like the very dark area, and this is like the dark area. So these are the light areas. So on the light areas, you can use the 005 pen and you can do the same. Okay. So use a slightly bolder pen for this. See, notice here I am simply using lines like this to create a texture. So think of more of it like a pattern so that you can get the desired effect. So just parallel lines that you're just putting very close together, and it doesn't have to be very strictly parallel also. Certain areas you can just go very rapidly on it. Let's increase the speed a little so that even increasing the speed will help get a very beautiful look of texture on this. I can use an even bolder pen now for the next area. See, now notice how this is where the texture really starts playing out. Certain areas you just add in that depth, and see when these different tonal values come into play, overall the effect of texture is very strong. Just increase the tonal values here. You want to look at the areas that are dark and just increase. Just use a much more bolder pen. So this is also another reason why you need a different tips of pens, because the different sets of pens you will be able to create more effects. Now let's just outline these areas, and there you go. I like the way this is turned out. Let's zoom out and have a look. See, I certainly like the way this is turned out. Right, so that's your wooden texture. Similarly, we'll be applying a different texture for the nest. Now for the nest, I want you to pay attention to, oops, I want you to pay attention to each of this. So two things playing here. One, the shape of the bowl. Second is the internal texture inside this. First is the shape of the bowl, and second is the internal texture inside this. So here the shape of the bowl, the contouring goes like this. But we are no longer going to draw just straight lines, because that will make it look like a bowl. But instead we are going to create the same thing, these straw-like effects with our pens. Okay, so this is going to be a little time consuming. Here's one straw. Here's another straw. Another straw. Notice this. Notice how it's almost like you're scribbling, okay, but the scribbling has a little bit of pattern inside it. There's no exact way that you have to do this, you have to do right after that, nothing like that. Just look at them as a notice how you cannot get it through your conventional lines. Your traditional lines won't help you get it, but with strokes, with certain strokes that goes this way, you will still be able to get it. Okay, I'm using a 0.1 pen for this. See, first do it with very light density. So you can vary the length of these straws. Sometimes you can bring them in between this. Sometimes overall it has to simply go from one end to another end. Sometimes you're increasing the overall density of this. Right. See this? So as I reach bottom, I'm not really adding in lots of depth because these areas I just want to later blacken it. But let's continue just creating this depth here also. Okay. See, one straw after another, one straw after another. Just think of them as individual straws. Individual straw that you're just putting them together to form pattern. Now don't rush, don't scribble over this. Just take it one straw at a time. Just draw it. But overall see that it's together contributing towards a uniform pattern. This requires a little intelligent designing. The worst mistake that you can do here is to look and exactly copy what I'm doing. Just tape what I'm doing line by line, stroke by stroke. That's not the way it's done. That's exactly not the understanding. Just go free. So just go free. Don't overthink each and every lines. Remember that one line each, it's not like one line here or there is going to ruin your drawing. That's not how this is. What matters is the overall pattern. Let me repeat that again. Just one line here and there. Don't overthink that and don't think that that is what is going to define the entire thing. It's what matters is that you're able to get that feel overall, that overall pattern. See here also going to work on adding in the depth here. Major challenge that we're going to face here is to show the depth, but it can be done. Even that can be done. Let's do the other side here, okay? See, first I'm simply defining the outline and the boundaries here. First only the outline and the boundaries here. Now we start drawing these curved lines inside. See, notice the presence. You'll in fact see these curved lines, even inside the see, because this, by showing the different curves, even though we are drawing straw, if you look at it, these straws are overall following a direction like this. You can see that they are in fact going this way. You can actually see that if you were to connect it with an arrow, they'll be following this direction this way, like this, it'll go this way. But this one, you can see that it's in fact going this way. This is how we get that inside versus the outside shape. Okay, otherwise, without this, the entire thing will look flat. See, even internally, we are drawing it this way. So this difference between internal and external becomes very obvious and very clear. We'll start off with just a single thing. Right now, you're not trying to get in depth. And please do not look at the reference image and get scared and confused trying to draw each of those lines. So this is a big mistake that I had made in the past, that I would try and exactly try to get each of those small details like that. I would just try to get it. But overall, although I was successful to a large extent, one, it took ridiculous amount of time. Secondly, it is not a technique that one can teach to anyone else. So you want to just try and get the feel, the essence of that texture. That's it. That is what matters more than anything. There's a little bit of trunk here, tree trunk here, so you can complete this with that tree trunk. Okay. Now let's just zoom out and see how this looks overall. See, like the feeling overall. Okay, like the feeling overall. Now what I want to do is I want to take an even bolder pen. Now in order to make this really distinguishable from one another. Now in order to make this really distinguishable from one another, I have to take a bolder pen next. I have to take a bolder pen and start darkening. Right now this looks flat. Although I have the texture, this looks flat. I want to start darkening some of these areas. For example, I can darken the bottom area, I can darken a few areas inside, and I can darken a few areas in between this. So overall, let's see what's happening here. See this? You're doing the same straw pattern, but this time with a much more bolder pen, and you're keeping the gap very small. See that? Let's zoom in and see. Okay. Just use a nice bold pen and do the same thing. This time you just apply more force more strength into it, and overall you're creating that dark tone. So you can also leave a few areas light. See here, as I'm doing here, as I'm working on these areas, I'm creating a lot of patches like this, a lot of pattern patches as I work on the top, because I want to get a lot of these light. This here, I simply touch in between, I just simply touch in between, and I can get that effect where it's just dark inside and in between. That's it. See, along the bottom, along the base, you can really go. This stage, it's not about hatching or cross hatching. At this stage, it's purely about the expressing with ink. So you can increase the thickness here, increase the thickness here. You can bring out a few patterns like this outside. See this? Bring out a few patterns here outside. You can use a this here. See? Now you're simply creating these, adding in these effects to give it that nice final touch. Same for this. Just once, you can always add these effects, but add them after you have done the main thing. These are all small effects. Otherwise, what happens is we tend to get carried away. And also, while doing this, keep it random. Learn to make it go random. Right? There's no measured area for this. Just learn to go random with this. And do the same here. Okay. Then inside this also, I can add a little bit of depth and texture. So here also I can add a little bit of depth and texture here with maximum depth along the innermost part. See, that's how this whole feeling that there is something, like there is that layers of depth is created with this. So don't be afraid of adding in contrast and layers. See, and finally we are here nearing the of this. I love this. Right. Finally. Okay. There you go. So just adding in this depth and final touches over this to just get this effect, and there you go. Okay. So I mean, if you're enjoying adding textures, it's a very different, completely different practice from what we're doing to what we're used to, right? This is all about letting yourself go. There's a lot of freedom involved in this kind of drawing. Lot of freedom. Let's do the bird now. Taking out the 005 pen. First, I want to simply outline this. So the beak, first start by outlining this. Then for this, you want to simply place a, you don't want to go very hard on this. You want to create a soft kind of a fur-like texture on this. So just make these flicks over this so that you can get this. And then there are these dark areas, so which you can do with a much more darker pen, and you can get that. See, so there are this patterns on the bird. And for the lower part, you can simply show this with a little bit of small texturing and all that. The eyes too, just cover it up. So that's one bird. A little bit of texturing, a little bit of depth. Same for the other one as well. Draw it in your free way. It's your drawing, right? It's your creation, it's your bird. Don't be so worried about if this line is going to come out right or anything. Just go at it. Let's just darken this area. Similarly, only talking. Yeah. Just add a little bit of stroke and texture for the bird. That's it. It's a free play, it's like a free play of strokes. There isn't any exact do's or don'ts here. If exactly it's you can just draw the way you like. Just draw the legs here, pushing it out, the claws, you can just darken it here, and you can show the trunk. Show the trunk. Just add in the create these branches and all, which you can simply blacken. It all that becomes a part of the drawing, the suggestion. You don't have to specifically look into details of all this. All of this will just be read as one coherent part, one whole. There. Love the way this has come out now. Oof, that's a lot of textures and lessons I did it in a short time. Erasing of the other areas. Erasing of the other areas, and there you go. That's when the true beauty of the drawing comes into play. There. So that's with Day9 Nest. So how many of you think you created something absolutely incredible in the morning? Wake up and draw. And we took just 45 minutes for this, right? Doesn't take a lot of time to practice. In fact, just the only thing is you might have to sacrifice 40 minutes of your sleep, or probably might have to find time from a little area. That's it. Just small adjustments you have to make, and you'll be able to make time for drawing. And this is because we did a lot of textures and detailings. If we wanted to keep it simple, we could have finished it in half the time as well, right? So that's just about today. And for everyone who's part of the masterclass, we'll be starting with a new lesson today. We'll be talking about textures and all that. So see you then. Bye.